And because I'm all about small room, big profits, I think people are saying, I need a big email list, I need a big social media, I need a big event to make a lot of money. And you don't. You need the right people in the room. And it's about the connection you make, and then, an offer that makes perfect sense for them.
This conversation with Sarah Gray, it's so easy, it's so fun, and I think you're going to take a lot out of it if you are anybody who wants to be a thought leader. Don't be scared by the title of this because it's not what you think it is. So imagine this. Sarah Gray started a second business right before the pandemic hit, and she turned it into $1 million business in just 1 year. And she did this by scheduling a Zoom conversation, a free conversation once a month. Hey, I'm going to talk about this today on Zoom. And she did it once a month. She just promoted it on LinkedIn. A few people would show up, and then she'd be like, you want to know more? Let's get on the phone. Let's talk more. And then she'd talk to them, and they would tell her, oh, I need more help with XYZ. And she'd say, well, this is how I can help you. She did this once a month. And by doing this once a month, she made $1 million. It is insane. She's actually having an event that is a little bit more in depth than just an hour-long Zoom that she's promoting on LinkedIn. It's called Elevate Your Sales. I am a sponsor of this event just because I think what she does is fascinating, and I think it's so easy for any expert to do. So I'm going to be speaking at the event on September 28th. It's a 3-day event, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. I will link to it in the show notes of this episode. If you go to elevateyoursalesevent.com/Christina, you can get a ticket to attend, and you can learn lots of amazing things from Sarah. She's an amazing marketer, and she's going to tell you different ways you can elevate your sales. Obviously, she knows what she's talking about. You will get to know her a little bit more in this episode. She's going to talk about how she does what she does, how she can help you, and then maybe I will see you there at elevateyoursalesevent.com. So here is Sarah Gray.
Ever wonder how some people seem to get all the media coverage, but you don't? Go behind the scenes with a TV reporter, national on-air host, and news contributor who's interviewed celebrities, took you inside the Versace mansion, and even stood on a chair to interview basketball legend Alonzo Mourning. Get ready, because Become a Media Maven is the podcast where Christina Nicholson is sharing secrets from her years in front of the camera, in the editing booth, and now behind the podcast mic.
Sarah, welcome to Become a Media Maven.
I'm so excited.
I'm happy to have you here. I don't think I've really talked about this topic much on this podcast, and you are like the go-to person to talk about using events to make money. And events, like, it can sound scary, like people think it's a big investment and it's a big to-do, but it doesn't really have to be. And you just did something kind of amazing. I think it's amazing. I want you to broadly tell me how you did this, and then I want to get into specifics. Right before the pandemic hit, you launched your second business, and in just over a year, you grew that business to $1 million, which is wild and crazy. Give me the quick overview of that, and then we're going to break it down so everybody listening can do the same thing.
I'm excited because I'm a very tactical person, so I want to get into the nitty-gritty. And yeah, I set up my business 8 months before the pandemic hit. So I was like, the summer 2019, loving life, becoming a new coach. And I went online thinking, where are all the leads? Where's everyone wanting to work with me? And it was just not happening the way I thought it would happen. So I got a bit of courage, and I hosted my first in-person workshop. $50 a ticket, and I got 16 people in a room. And I actually have a photo on my social media because I remember every single person, because it meant so much that someone wanted to show up and hear me speak. And Christina, they didn't know who I was. It wasn't, people that I knew or friends. It was just people who saw me posting on LinkedIn. And I made 20,000 from that event. And
okay.
I was broke.
You jumped. $50, 16 people are in, which first of all is an accomplishment. Getting 16 people to give you $50 just based off of a LinkedIn post is a big deal.
Oh, massive. Yeah.
But then you the next sentence out of your mouth was, I turned that into 20,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I'm all about small room, big profits, I think people are saying, I need a big email list. I need a big social media. I need a big event to make a lot of money. And you don't. You need the right people in the room. And it's about the connection you make, and then, an offer that makes perfect sense for them. But Christina, I had no offer at this event. I gave them all a piece of paper. Literally, I was like, write down your number and your name, and I'm going to call you to book in a call with me. That's all I did after the workshop. And they're biting off my arm to book in a call because I saw the big problem that people had. So the event made sense. It was a big problem. They wanted to do a workshop on it. And then I booked some calls and I gave them all different offers. I didn't have any offers. I was like, VIP day for you, done for you, a little course for you, all different things I did for everyone, and ended up being $20,000. And I got the bug.
Wow.
Got the bug for events. And then the next year I just said, okay, what other kind of events could I do? And I went online. The pandemic hit, my in-person little workshops ended, panicking. And I said, let's try my hand at webinars. And then I started doing some simple Zoom, got Zoom webinars, paid the extra little upgrade. And I was getting small rooms, 30, 40 people, and getting so many sales calls and closing so many clients. And it was every week. I did it every week, a webinar or some live or something every single week. And did that for about 6 months solid, and I built a 7-figure business.
So once a week, you're doing a live webinar. Tell me if you are charging to get people in this webinar or if it's free. Free, really?
It was the pandemic, and I didn't want to do any paid events during that time. And it was all free events, all 30, 40-minute webinars on one topic, give them some value, share my story, invite them to a call with me. And I booked out calls. But it's so crazy because events make you better at speaking, make you better at storytelling, make you better at connecting with your audience, makes you better, you grow your audience, and you come better sales calls. Like, the knock-on effect is just crazy. Just from these small. Now, I don't think your audience listening, you don't have to do weekly webinars. I did that because we're in lockdown. There's nothing else to do than to perfect this. I would say one event a month is perfect for people right now, but it's just, you don't need these big event production teams and ads and big team selling tickets. You can do really small events and make massive profits until you're at the level where you want to do big events.
And with these webinars that you're filling up once a week, are you doing the same webinar, promoting the same thing, but different people are joining every week? And how are you promoting it? Is it just different people on LinkedIn? How are you filling this?
Such a good question. So 2 parts. One is I had 3 rotating topics. So I taught on LinkedIn, I taught on how to do webinars, and I taught on sales. And I just rotated those 3 topics consistently over the 6 months, because I didn't have the time to be creating new slide decks and new landing pages and all that kind of stuff. And every time I'd say, guys, I might host one next month as well. Bring your friend. So regarding topics for webinars now, webinars are more popular than ever, and people think webinars are dead. People are out enjoying their vacations and they're not at home watching webinars anymore. It just means your webinar topic needs to be amazing. That's all that means. Less people are at home all the time. So for them to want to come and show up to your webinar, you better, bring your game, but you better have a topic that people want to join. So what's happening right now is specific niche down topics. If you're a marketing person, don't say how to market your business better. No one's going to show up to that. What does that even mean? Where you could say how to rock TikTok, or how to do Instagram Reels. So these small bite-sized trainings are doing really, really well on webinars. So that's my thing on that. Regarding filling it, do you know what? Even someone like me who fills events constantly, but I'm not a big, massive player. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not an influencer. I'm just a normal person who enjoys doing these little events. And what I realize is how you'd fill your event, Christina, and how I'd fill my event and webinar would be so different. For some of my clients and for myself, it may be the case that you use LinkedIn events. Do you ever hear of LinkedIn events?
No.
Oh my God. So you can invite 1,000 of your LinkedIn connections to a LinkedIn event for free. It is a free feature on LinkedIn. They launched it during COVID, and you can invite them to your free or paid event. It's really, really cool feature. Facebook has, I think everyone knows Facebook events, but that's not as popular anymore. But LinkedIn events is really, really amazing because people connect with you on LinkedIn. You can say, hey, I have a webinar this week. And you just click the invite button and they get invited and they say yes to it. It's really amazing. And you can even go live in your LinkedIn event. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing that you can do is obviously emailing your list. And you're going to be growing your list with all the different events you're going to be doing. And I think when you're emailing your list, just realize that your email list will usually join that day. So send an email the day of the webinar as well. And like other ideas, it has a lot to do with your content and the connections you build online. So if you have a Facebook group, you can do a Facebook group event. If you have Instagram, you can go live on your Instagram. It's just giving them value and saying, if you enjoy this, join my webinar. That kind of thing is really what's worked for me. I've over 20 ways right now that I use to fill my free and paid events. And what's funny is some of them will work amazingly and the next month won't work for me. And it's so interesting. So you can't be complacent saying, this is how I fill my events and that's how I'm going to do it. I've had events where I'm like, how did that not fill doing this way of doing it? And then the next time it would 3 times better. So you need at least 7 ways to fill your events. Everyone needs 7 ways.
You said so many things there that I want to touch on. One, when you talk about the topic, the webinar topic,
Yeah.
I just got off of day 2 of my 3-day boot camp, pitch, publicity, profit. And the big takeaway today was getting super specific on your pitch idea. And I used almost the same example. Like instead of teaching women how to make more money in their business, it's how to close more sales without making a sales call. Or something like super specific. Like you got to really drill it down so I can visualize it. So I'm 100% here for you on that. And something else that I noticed that you have not mentioned that I feel like a lot of people do that maybe you do differently. And maybe people don't do this because it takes more time, but maybe it also speaks to your fast success. Is it sounds like the call to action for you at the end of a webinar is a phone call to connect more with that person instead of sign up for a VIP day here, buy my course here. You're having a phone call with the person. So you say the first time you did it, you didn't have an offer. Now you've been doing it for quite some time. You're successful with it. Are you still doing these phone calls? When do you pitch something? And then when do you do a phone call?
Really good question. So I was really bad at sales calls. So I actually had to push myself to do them. So I was using webinars as a way to become very good at sales calls. So that was important for me because I think every business owner should be good at sales calls. So that's that. When it's a free event, so a free challenge in a Facebook group, a free live, a free webinar, a free masterclass, I always say to people, you can't pitch an offer above 1,000. It just won't work. That needs to be a paid event. So I have used free events to a sales call, to a paid event, and to a low ticket offer. So there's 3 call to actions when it's a free event. I had one example, and this only happened to me in July, so it was only a couple months ago. I did a free webinar in about 2 days. So I didn't really tell my audience enough time. I had around 80 live. I do small webinars, really small webinars, 80 live. And I got 23 onto a paid offer for $800. I'm not really good at maths, about 16,000, just like that. Really simple, 23 out of 80 bought there and then. So I do that. But I don't have a lot of low ticket offers. Most of my offers are high ticket. So I need to go on that call to build that connection. And I think people are enjoying authenticity with their sales. So having a sales call where I really get to know, are we a good fit? So that's really important. So for anyone doing free events, if it's below 1,000, you can pitch it right there at the free event. Otherwise, I'm getting them on a sales call.
And I love that you're saying this and you're not talking about the $1 million launch, the 6-figure launch, because I feel like that is terminology that so many people hear when we talk about having a webinar to sell to a product. Like, you are keeping it super easy and simple, and you surpassed the 7-figure mark in just over a year. So I think I just love your approach to it. You're not like trying to grow the fastest and be the biggest in the shortest amount of time. You're just like, this is what I enjoy doing. This is what's working for me. I'll try things here and there. And I think it's just so good for people to hear. And I'm assuming you are going to talk about this a lot at your upcoming event. You're having an event a little bigger than just a webinar. I am lucky enough to be a sponsor of this event. So I want you to tell me about Elevate Your Sales. But before we get there, I want to just pump the tires of Jessica Terzakis. She's been on the podcast before. She's a business friend of mine. She works closely with Sarah. And Sarah, you can tell us a little bit more about how she helps you in your business. But I just wanted to shout her out. If anybody wants to do something like what Sarah is, where you're creating content to share with an audience, to build yourself as a thought leader, to teach them things, to get them in your funnel, to get them on a sales call, to introduce them to your programs. Jessica is from the teaching background, and she helps people do that. She helps them create content so they are that thought leader. Think of it as masterclass. If anybody's a fan of masterclass, think of it as that. But instead of having like the big celebrity teach you, you hire Jessica to put together your own little version of masterclass for your audience so you can promote those educational resources to them. And Jessica made the introduction. She's amazing. She's fabulous to work with.
I'm obsessed with her. My wedding's in 3 months, and she's coming over. I was like, bring your dad, bring your mom, bring your fiance. She is, but she does to toot her horn as well. She literally is so good at teaching and having content in a way that will resonate with your audience. So she can create content for your webinar, for your 3-day event, for your course, for your social media. And it's just so amazing for me because I can create a program like that. She's doing my whole 3-day content because she understands how to inspire, how to motivate, how to teach. And she's able to take her content and turn it into something that's so beautiful. She's like an artist, a content artist.
I love that. We're going to have to tell her we branded her content artist today.
I agree.
And you're talking about Elevate Your Sales. This is an event that I am speaking at on September 28th. It's September 28th, 29th, and 23rd. I will link to it in the show notes, but you can go to elevateyoursalesevent.com/Christina to get your ticket. Tell me why people need to invest in this to come and what they're going to get out of it.
So this is a bigger event than I'm used to, my first in 3 years. And what's funny, Christina, I'm using small events to fill it. So I'm doing what I know and selling tickets to this event. So this event is for any service-based entrepreneur who wants to make more revenue, more impact doing their own small events. So it's really for people who want that freedom, who don't want to be doing a million marketing strategies, a million sales strategies, and they just want to do maybe one event a month, a webinar, a masterclass, a retreat, an in-person workshop, all the different variations of these small events you can do and have big impact, tell their story, give value, have 20 in the room and make a lot of money in it. And it's for someone who, wants less confusion with their lead generation and more impact. And anyone who enjoys speaking, like you can't shut me up, who enjoys speaking, but maybe they're not a polished speaker. I'm not an international speaker. It's all my own small events. So this is for anyone who has something to say, who has a story, who wants to make more money and wants to host their own amazing small events. We have people doing retreats in Bali for 10 people, we have people doing in-person workshop in London on fashion, or doing a masterclass on LinkedIn on, marketing. And if you think that, you'd love to have the freedom of having one event a month, one small event that will fill your group and your one-on-one, then definitely go get your ticket to Elevate Your Sales. And it's going to be amazing. We have over 7 speakers, including the amazing Christina. We have like a whole Spotify playlist. And I think what's interesting is because I'm European, I'm Irish, and I couldn't tell. Yes, Christina, shocker. Shocker. And half my audience are European, half are Irish. I think the way I teach marketing sales is different. Like you said to me, I don't talk about the six-figure launches, or I don't speak in that kind of language. It's just real simple marketing, simple strategies that will just make sense for your business. So I think they'll enjoy the different approach to it.
I love that. And I think that's what people need. And I always need the reminder because there's so many things to do when it comes to marketing to get leads
Oh,
that I feel like we get kind of stuck in this trap of doing 5 different things a little bit instead of doing one thing and focusing on that one thing. And if we did,
master.
if we had that willpower to just do that
Yeah.
one thing in marketing, we would get so much further. And I have to
Yeah.
correct you. You said you're not a speaker. Listen, lady, you've made $1 million in a year speaking. You're a speaker.
I know.
You're a speaker.
But I'm not. And it's funny because Jessica Zaka says to me, she said, "You're so strange." And I said, "What do you mean I'm strange?" She said, you don't speak on other people's stages. This is my second ever podcast. Did you know
Isn't that
that?
wild? But look at how much money and success you've had in speaking about your expertise. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And I really
Yeah.
think it's because you do not have a traditional take on events. You're not
No.
doing events in a traditional way. You're not speaking in a traditional way. But hey, if the money is real, if you're doing what you
Yeah.
enjoy to do, and like you said,
Exactly.
it's like an hour a month speaking. Like this is a no-brainer for people, especially people who want to build their brands as a thought leader and make money while they're at it.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're really excited for the event in September. I'm flying all the way to North Carolina for it, even though it's virtual. Yeah.
Why?
Do you know what? The studio is better. I couldn't
Okay.
find a good studio over here. And I was like, okay, let's just fly over to North Carolina to go to a good studio. Because I want it to be amazing. I want it to be like a Netflix show.
I
And
love
just
it. Yeah,
the
like
drama
Jessica
of it.
did. Jessica did
Yeah.
one recently and it looked
Yeah.
ridiculous. It looked like
Yeah.
that, like a Netflix show. Oh, exciting.
Exactly. Same studio. Yeah. So we're really excited.
Okay, so I feel like the pressure is on me for my talk. Like, where am I going to go? What is my background going to be?
I agree. You got to show up.
Oh my gosh, the pressure of it all. I'm going to link to elevateyoursalesevent.com in the show notes. And then I'm also going to mention LinkedIn events because that is something that is new to me. That is something I think people will want to check out. I'm going to link
Yeah.
to your Facebook, your Instagram, and your LinkedIn. And I think if anybody wants to build their thought leadership, you have to check out elevateyoursalesevent.com. It's happening September 28th, 29th, and 30th.
Yeah. Can't wait. Excited.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Make sure you head to elevateyoursalesevent.com/Christina so I can hang out with you around lunchtime on September 28th. And check out the show notes because I'm talking about LinkedIn events. That's something I'm definitely going to check out. I also have Sarah's Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram in the show notes for this episode. And as always, tap that subscribe button. Let me know what you're liking. Unfortunately, the Apple Podcast situation is not like Instagram, where if you double tap, I know you like what you hear. You have to leave me a rating or review. That's literally the only way I know. Hopefully, it'll get easier for you in the future. But if you leave me a rating and a review, then I will know what you're liking, and I will know how you feel, and I will appreciate it. It's the only way. It's the only way. I know. It's nuts. I think it'll get better in the future, but that's it. So if you could take a few minutes to do that, I would be very grateful. And I hope again to see you at elevateyoursalesevent.com just later this month. And thank you for listening. As always, I know you could be spending your time doing anything else, listening to anything else, and you're spending it with me, and I'm very grateful.